Hey guys, this is Craig Harris, and normally I'm the guy that handles all the Nintendo DS and Game Boy coverage on IGN, but today I'm here to give you the final word on Excitebike for the Nintendo Wii. The name Excitebike might sound familiar to anyone who's played a Nintendo system in the past, and that's because, it's lifting its namesake from a classic Nintendo game called Excitebike. Excitebike was all about using your turbo to take air off jumps, adjusting your bike in midair, landing without losing your speed, and that's really the case with Excitebike. It's a launch title, so it suffers from launch titleitis. It's lacking a few elements that fleshed out games usually have, but for what it is, a first generation game, it's a really good racing game. You take the Wii Remote and you tip it on its side and you hold it like an NES controller. You tilt it left and right to control your vehicle left or right on the track. When it's in the air, you want to tip your vehicle forward and backward by tilting the controller forward and backwards. Like any racing game, the idea is to come in first, but there's the added incentive in Excitebike to earn points by doing specific things on the track. You can take out your opponents by driving into them. You can drift around turns. You can perform tricks in the air. And the more intense these moves are, the more points you get. There's a trick system in Excitebike where you can perform spins in midair by whipping the controller left and right after a jump, but it seems really kind of tacked on. It's necessary to win the race with these tricks because they score you points, but it just doesn't feel natural when you're playing it. One of the coolest elements of Excitebike is the deforming terrain as you're driving. When you pick up icons that are scattered around the track, it'll actually cause the land to form mountains and jumps, cause the environments to just collapse on itself and cause mayhem to the other players. The whole changing terrain really kind of gives Excitebike its own personality. Even though you can blow through the game in a couple hours to get through the normal level progression, it's all about trying to beat each track perfectly, otherwise you will never unlock the harder difficulty level. There are a few added mini-games like a slalom challenge or a jump through rings challenge. They're cool for what they are, but it's not going to extend the life of the game beyond a few hours of play. Excitebike is a first-generation Wii title, so there's not a whole lot to compare it to from the start. But that said, it's a really good-looking game. It's got a solid frame rate, really nice visual effects going on, like the deforming terrain, lighting effects, textures, dirt effects, that kind of thing. Sound, however, is not as impressive. The sound effects are nice for a racing game, but the music itself really kind of sucks. Thankfully, you can bring in your own soundtrack to the SD slot if you have a lot of MP3s lying around. The multiplayer is definitely the weakest element of Excitebike. It's only 2 players, there's no computer opponents, and it's just you and the other person on the track. It's fun for what it is, but honestly it's not a selling point, and it could have been much more had the developer given much more time with the product. Even with the downsides, the game is a lot of fun to play. It's got a huge amount of energy. It's a great arcade-style racing game that shows off what the Wii can do. And if you're a fan of, say, San Francisco Rush or Burnout, you would totally love this game. Check out my full written review on IGN.com.